Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, taking a super fun and exciting episode for you guys today because I'm taking a look at a recently released, as of about 24 hours ago, ROM hack for Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow called Eternity of Sorrow. Basically what this is a sequel to the bad ending of Dawn of Sorrow, basically taking that entire concept and running with it into an entirely quote-unquote new game. This was made by a ROM hacker going by the name of Wet Band-Aid, definitely gives you a visual there, and I will say I absolutely love the conceit here of having a sequel to a game but following just the bad ending and seeing where it goes. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But honestly, Eternity of Sorrow, I went in not really knowing what to expect because I got about 3 or 4 messages on Discord and Twitter letting me know this was out. And I always appreciate viewers and fans basically keeping me abreast of this stuff because honestly, trying to keep track of everything is incredibly difficult. But you'll see here, Soma was basically killed because he became the Dark Lord in the bad ending of Dawn of Sorrow, and we're continuing the story from right there. But I'm not going to give you exactly many of the story beats. I will just say that it is very intelligently written and goes in a lot of fun directions, but I want to definitely keep this one very spoiler free because I want you to go in and experience it for the first time. And as far as if you don't want to watch the entire video and you're wondering, is this ROM hack worth checking out, I can guarantee you it is definitely a fun time. Because let's be real, Konami really doesn't do anything with Castlevania anymore whatsoever. It is absolutely a disappointment that we haven't seen a new game, whether in 3D or definitely in 2D, in a while. So you have to leave it to fans to basically take apart existing games and make entirely new experiences. And that's exactly what this is. From start to finish, it really does feel like a brand new Castlevania experience that you just never actually got a chance to play. And if you do want to play this one, I am emulating on a Melon DS. It will work on original hardware with a flash cart. Basically, any way you want to play something like a DS game, you're going to be able to play this ROM hack, and that definitely makes a huge difference. From the artwork to the items to everything else, it's going to be something new and fun to see and discover. And honestly, more Castlevania, especially in the Metroidvania category, is definitely something that's going to be very welcome. Because I absolutely love this franchise and the Metroidvania games specifically. I just wish that Konami would remember, kind of like with Silent Hill recently, people do want more games in this franchise, especially in the 2D Metroidvania format. That's exactly what Eternity of Sorrow is. It is just more Metroidvania, and it is a very good version of it. Because I've definitely played some ROM hacks in Castlevania games before and felt like the quality ranged from maybe wasn't worth experience whatsoever to definitely something I would recommend playing. And Eternity of Sorrow definitely hits the other end of the spectrum where I could recommend this to basically any Castlevania fan. That is really how good it is and how inventive it can be. And of course, like any Metroidvania, you're going to be doing a lot of backtracking here, a lot of item collecting, and every single stage in this game has a very unique visual look, so you're going to know exactly where you are even if you actually haven't accessed the map. Because of course with a new game you're going to get an entirely new map, and you'll see here that we can at least see a little bit of it to the start. But this is a meaty experience. It's going to give you a lot of gameplay hours because I have gotten further into this one that I'm showing you in the video. Because again, I really like to minimize spoilers and a lot of the story here because you've never seen it before. You're going to enjoy it a lot more if you actually get to those story beats on your own than me showing them to you in a video. But I love Metroidvania, and I would say that Eternity of Sorrow absolutely checks all the boxes when it comes to the actual gameplay genre format. You're going to have to go around, you're going to have to discover new items and new things, and basically just figure out how to circumnavigate the castle, just like you would in any other Metroidvania game. But I will say this one's definitely a little bit harder than the traditional Metroidvanias on the DS. It's kind of actually figuring that you have some experience with the game and you're going in without a complete knowledge of how they work. And if you haven't played Dawn of Sorrow somehow and you do want to check this one out, I can't recommend enough playing that one and at least getting the bad ending, because this is a story continuation of that canon event, so you kind of have to know exactly what's going on if you want to fully enjoy this one. But trust me, if you've never played Dawn of Sorrow before, you are in for an absolute treat, because I would say it's one of my favorite Metroidvania games of all time. You leave me a comment down below and you tell me what your favorite Metroidvania game is. I've said it on the channel before, but it's definitely Symphony of the Night as far as favorite is concerned, and even though a lot of people like this one, and I do think it's good, just my least favorite would be Order of Ecclesia. Just something about that one never really clicked with me. Let's go into our first of 2 soundtrack samples again, because you know Castlevania has some of the best music ever made. But come back as I'll show you a lot more of the map and talk about why this is absolutely doing every bit as good of a job as a Metroidvania game would need. But enjoy! I mean, obviously it's music you've heard before, but any single time you hear a good track from Castlevania, it is just an absolutely incredible experience because this franchise still, in my opinion, has the best music of any franchise in gaming ever made. You can disagree with me down below and give me your pick, but for me, Castlevania music will always hit. It is always a straight up 10 out of 10. Even when it's not the best music Castlevania ever did, it is still a lot better than most music you've heard in any other game. Now just so you know, there are two different patches for this game, one that involves the seals and one that doesn't. Sure, you need to pick them up, but one doesn't really require the touchscreen whatsoever, and I think that is a very fun bonus, because honestly that was one of the most finicky things in Dawn of Sorrow, having to deal with drawing all of the different symbols on the screen to seal the bosses when you beat them, because if you screwed up, the boss would get its health back, at least in part, and you kind of feel like you thought you did things right, but the game would kind of fight you on them. And it's really good that basically Konami dropped the overall touchscreen implementation for gameplay elements when they moved on to the new games. As we move on to Bloody Terrace here, one of the earlier areas again, absolutely just has a completely different visual vibe, and the creator here has done an excellent job of really delineating what the castle is supposed to look like so that you can traverse around it and understand exactly where you are, because that is a very important thing in a Metroidvania game, whether it's an official release or a ROM hack. You want to be able to instantaneously know what area you're in based upon the artwork in the background alone. And I would say the enemy placement here and everything else works. It gives you just enough challenge while still feeling fair and like it's not trying to completely beat you up. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me what you think of the visual styling so far, because this is basically After Death. I do like that it's a little bit more of a somber graphical tone with a lot of crimson and blood reds in the actual color profiles here. It works as what the story is trying to tell you, and it actually just works to have a very distinct visual identity from Dawn of Sorrow, even though it kind of feels like an official sequel at the same time. And that kind of is the testament, at least in my opinion, to a good ROM hack. If you feel like if this was put on a Nintendo DS cart and released back in the day, people would have enjoyed it and people would still be playing it to this day. Because I can't stress enough just how much Metroidvania games, especially Castlevania ones, have been part of my life. Since I was a kid and initially played Symphony of the Night up through the entirety of the franchise, I have loved every single one of these games, and as far as the genre is concerned, it is basically one of my top 3 favorites of all time, alongside arcade racing games and arcade-like gun games. The sense of exploration, the sense of discovery, finding new items and figuring out how you need to progress definitely has that RPG vibe to it, but in an action platformer. And when you take a game as good as Dawn of Sorrow and make a new game out of it by continuing the storyline, you have a very inventive idea. And I think that's what works the best here. Obviously the gameplay is great, but taking the bad ending of Dawn of Sorrow and making a sequel out of it is a really fun place to start. And I think it really comes across here. And we just got that Sapphire plate, but interestingly enough, it isn't going to be as good as the item I got earlier. But soundtrack sample 2 times, because again, Castlevania music, and I'll be right back. Now let's move over to the Collapsing Citadel, and I love the little transitions here when you actually get the area's name. Again, this is just something, if you are even a minor fan of Castlevania, you like a good Metroidvania, I can't stress enough just how much fun this one truly is. Because when I got these matches, I thought to myself, somebody made an entire sequel to Dawn of Sorrow, I wonder how good it would be. And even though I always go into these things with an optimistic outlook, because I want everyone to succeed, not every single ROM hack or new game that gets sent to me or I discover I end up making videos on, because if something new is out and I don't talk about it, generally it means I don't enjoy it, and as opposed to making a video saying it's not good, I just don't make the video in the first place. But honestly, this one definitely deserved the video because it absolutely enamored me and made me want to play it from start to finish. I think it's going to do the exact same thing for you too. But again, you leave me a comment down below and you tell me, having seen this footage and hear me talk about it, is this something that you want to check out or something that you're going to skip? Because again, not everything is for everyone, but for me, I think this is absolutely an amazing work, and I'm sure it took the developer hundreds of hours to actually get this thing out. And again, if you want to play it, the link to the patch is in the description below, but you'll have to patch it yourself. But any new Metroidvania is a good Metroidvania in my opinion, and this one definitely has my seal of approval, whatever the hell that means. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.